Have you ever been stuck in a conversation where it feels like your brain just shuts off? You say hello, exchange the usual "what do you do?" questions, and then suddenly there's that dead space, the silence that feels way louder than it should. And in that moment, you're thinking, why does this feel so hard for me? Here's the part most people don't realize. The problem isn't that you're awkward. It's that you were never taught how conversations actually work. And once you understand that, something clicks. Because think about this. Around people you're comfortable with, you're not quiet. You're not boring. You don't run out of things to say. So how can the same person feel confident in one room and completely frozen in another? That question bothered me for years, and the answer changed how I talk to everyone. It turns out this isn't a confidence issue at all. It's a skill gap. Conversation isn't a personality trait. It's a system. And once you learn the system, you stop relying on luck. Let me show you how it works. But first, you need to understand one thing. Most conversations fail before they even start, and it's usually because of what happens after the first answer. Someone says, "I'm playing golf over the weekend." Most people respond with, "Oh, nice," and then panic internally while the silence creeps in. But here's the shift. Conversations don't move forward with statements. They move forward with direction, and direction comes from questions. Instead of reacting, you lead. Where do you usually play? How long have you been into golf? Did you start casually or competitively? Here's the part people miss. You don't need to care about golf. What you're doing is signaling interest, and interest keeps conversations alive. When you ask intentional follow-ups, the pressure comes off you and lands on the flow itself. You're no longer scrambling for something to say, you're guiding the exchange. But there's a catch. Asking questions only works if you're actually listening. Most people don't listen, they wait. They're mentally rehearsing their response while the other person is still talking. That's why conversations derail. You respond to something that wasn't really said. When you truly listen, you unlock the second layer, tone, emphasis, emotion. That gives you better questions, which creates momentum. That's when conversations stop feeling forced and start feeling natural. And here's the final piece that changes everything. Every great conversation eventually finds common ground. Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's buried, but it's always there. A shared experience, mindset, frustration, or curiosity. Once you find it, lean into it. That's where connection lives. Now let me close the loop you've probably been waiting on. What about the silences, the moments when nothing comes out? Here's the truth. Silence isn't failure, it's neutral. Most people panic because they think silence exposes them. It doesn't. It only feels awkward if you try to escape it. When you stop fighting it, it passes on its own. So here's the real takeaway. You don't need to become louder. You don't need to become someone else. You need to understand how conversations actually move. Lead with questions. Listen without planning. Follow shared ground, and let silence exist without fear. Do that, and most conversations won't stall. They'll flow. And the more you practice this, the more you'll realize something surprising. You were never bad at talking to people. You were just playing the game without knowing the rules.